About a year ago, the Chicago Bulls were one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine were one of the best all-star duos in the NBA, and Chicago looked promising enough to compete long-term in the East. Fast forward to the present day, and this current Bulls team has underachieved significantly, sitting under 500 and not a top 10 seed in the Eastern Conference. This slow start has completely changed the future outlook of this franchise, which has many wondering if the Bulls can even recover this season or potentially blow up this roster. From poor on-court performance to unexpected injuries to chemistry issues, and most importantly, front office mistakes, the end may be near for the Bulls in the Windy City. At the recording of this video, the Bulls are the 11th seed in the Eastern Conference, sitting with an 11-16 record in the middle of December. The offense has been average at best in regards to the entire league and hasn't been anything to praise. In comparison to last season, Chicago, as crazy as it sounds, has been almost on par with their statistical and analytical averages over last year through this year. What plagues this roster is the stretches of inconsistency that can lead to scoring droughts and defensive lapses that aid their opponents to go on scoring runs. They're currently 6-9 against teams over 500, meaning they have played down to the competition, losing to teams that they should be beating. However, there are some flaws. The Bulls' defense needs to be tighter, and part of this is due to the fact that Nikola Vucevic isn't a rim protector by any measure. The Bulls have found ways to make up for this and have a top 15 defensive rating in the league, but for any true competitive, contending team, rim protection is a must and is a backbone for any defense, and the Bulls currently are lacking that. It's also key to mention the other teams in the Eastern Conference that are performing well. The Cavaliers have looked impressive and ahead of schedule. The Nets seem to have found a rhythm and are winning more games. Boston, Milwaukee, and Philly are still contenders in the Eastern Conference. And you have many sleeper teams who look great as well, like the Indiana Pacers and New York Knicks. Another concerning issue for Chicago is the big elephant in the room, the injury status of Lonzo Ball and his availability for Chicago. When the Bulls signed Lonzo back in the 2021 offseason, it looked very promising due to Lonzo's production as an on-ball defender and playmaker in transition that led to easy buckets on the fast break. But Lonzo has only played 35 games last year before his season was cut short due to a knee injury, and even though he had surgery for that same knee this past summer, he still hasn't suited up for the Bulls this year. There are many reports he might miss the entirety of this season. I love Lonzo's game, and I really hope he can make a full recovery because I think he has a skill set that contending teams want from the guard position. But the Chicago Bulls haven't seen or reaped the benefits of the 3-year, $85 million deal they gave to Lonzo back in 2021. And for a team that is struggling and trying to get back into a rhythm, it's a black sore that Lonzo isn't able to aid this team when they could use his talent. Importantly, Lonzo's injury and hiatus from the court has become dead money that limits the flexibility for the Chicago Bulls front office to make improvements on this roster. Players like Patrick Williams and Kobe White, who aren't the worst players in the NBA, haven't really shown any special traits that have made them core pieces for the future of the Chicago Bulls. With a team underperforming like this, trade rumors have arisen just because of the possibility that this roster could be blown up or retooled. A player like Alex Caruso, who comes off the bench for the Bulls, is the championship piece that any contending team would trade for with his championship experience. In the league today, with rampant talent, any injury can mess up the plan for that team, which can snowball into a multitude of issues that we're seeing with the Bulls right now. We've even seen Zach LaVine and head coach Billy Donovan butt heads in the media press conferences. Just a bad sign when the team is facing turmoil and trying to get back on track. A lot of mistakes can be attributed to the Vucevic trade that in hindsight looks like a complete lopsided L for the Bulls. Nikola Vucevic in 2021 for the Orlando Magic was a two-time All-Star and was looked as a valuable big man that was a bright spot for the below-average Magic squad for the past few seasons. In an overall franchise direction change, Chicago would trade away Otto Porter, Wendell Carter Jr., a player who had dealt with injury issues that disrupted his development, and 2 first-round picks. Even for a quality All-Star big man at that time, this was much of an overpay, but Chicago wanted to win now, so the trade did make sense. However, over the past 2 seasons in Chicago, Nikola Vucevic has underperformed and not met the expectations you wanted to see when trading for him. He hasn't been horrible, but he has regressed from the near All-NBA level he once was at. And what makes this so much worse is that the Bulls gave up quality young assets in return for Nikola. Wendell Carter Jr. has massively improved in Orlando and has become much more consistent, and from a numbers standpoint, Wendell Carter Jr. and Vucevic have almost the same level of production, just that Wendell Carter Jr. is much more efficient and a better defender while being younger. The Magic used one of the Bulls picks in 2021 to draft Franz Wagner, who's one of the best young promising players in the league right now. A 6'8" forward who can shoot, defend, and playmake, and does so at a very efficient level for his age. Easily one of the few players who is scouted to be a plug-in piece for contending teams in the future. Chicago's first round pick also goes to Orlando this year, which is top 4 protected, and if it lands outside of that, Orlando has more treats in store for an upcoming draft that is totally stacked with young talent this year. The Bulls will have to make a decision on what needs to be done to get back on track and add some positivity for the fans to be motivated about. Because as it stands right now, the Bulls aren't a team that looks like they have the ability to make a complete 180 in this season without drastic changes coming. DeRozan and Lavine will have to step their game up like the all-star guards that they're known to be. The Slash Bros from last year that everyone loved need to find their mojo because the Bulls offense will only thrive through them. This doesn't mean that this will solve every issue, because it doesn't solve injuries, chemistry issues, or the lack of flexibility the Bulls have. But it can change the dark cloud this team is currently under. However, if this downward trend for Chicago continues, I would not be surprised to see the Bulls look like a completely different roster after February next year. What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment sections and your take on what the Chicago Bulls need to do next. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and be sure to turn that post notification bell on so you never miss a video. Until next time, stay on beat.